The topic of UFOs and aliens has been one of the most profound and controversial of our time. From government conspiracies, eyewitness accounts, and even tales of abduction, they have become a worldwide phenomenon. They have also become a huge part of our culture, starting on cave walls and paintings, to radio, television, and movies, turning a once taboo topic to now very much being part of the mainstream. But no matter what your opinion is, the fact still remains that this is a real phenomenon. And recently, even the government has come out on record to state publicly, acknowledging the existence of these craft. So the real question is, if UFOs are real, where are they coming from, and who is behind the wheel? Could it be aliens from another planet, time travelers from the future, interdimensional beings, or are they already here among us and we just don't know it? The truth is, we really have no idea, and that's what makes this subject so mysterious. I've always had this deep feeling, though, that if we ever find out who they are or what they are, I just wonder if we will be able to accept the shocking reality. Either way, this event will change history. First of all, thank you for being here. Just showing up, that means a lot to me. For your support. But anyway, for tonight's video, a subject that I used to be very, very hardcore into for years. It was like my thing. And I did a pretty deep dive for quite a number of years. Read a bunch of books, went into the whole ancient alien theory, aliens in the Bible. I mean, the whole gamut of alien crap. But I hit a wall where I just was tired of it. I was tired of seeing lights in the sky, pictures of fuzzy lights and metal things. I pretty much said, you know what, until we get better evidence, I'm just so done with this right now. But here recently, man, things have been happening. First of all, the government has been releasing files that were top secret until now. Airline pilots, jet pilots have been coming out with their own testimony of what they experienced chasing around a UFO. And I believe them. I saw this video, 10 space photos that will give you nightmares. And, you know, I've been wanting to do a video on UFOs, just didn't know when the right time was. And
now's the time.
Make sure you hit that like button for me. Really appreciate you. Grab your drinks, your food, and let's sit back and watch this together. Pretend I'm there in your arms right now. I'm caressing your shoulders ever so gently. No, I'm just kidding, you know. But seriously, this video looks pretty cool, and, you know...
Shut the fuck up, Crow, and watch a fucking video!
Have you ever taken a photo and noticed something in the background that shouldn't be there? A face, a figure, or unexplained lights? Creepy, right? How much scarier is it when they appear in pictures taken in the dead of space, when no one can hear you scream? 10. At the end of one's tether. The USA and Italy celebrated the 75th space
otherwise known as the Great Tether Incident
mission in 1996 by sending an experimental tether into orbit. The aim was to investigate new sources of power, namely a way to cleanly harness solar wind to power spacecraft. As the shuttle crew began deploying the satellite, the umbilical tether snapped, sending the oval-shaped equipment drifting off in the direction of deep space. The mission video shows unexplained bright objects flying around the detached tether like wasps buzzing around a nest. NASA conveniently omitted the bright lights from the mission report, and to date has refused to acknowledge or explain the bizarre phenomenon. Did the objects approach to investigate the bizarre floating piece of space junk? Or were they responsible for the tether snapping in the first place? 9.
It was like flies on shit. To me, it was that gotcha moment. I mean, they go to zoom in this tether, and just like flies, man, they just start approaching this tether. And once they zoom in, this is what you get. And in my mind, I said, my God, they're everywhere out there. They're everywhere. They're already here. Once we find out who's behind the wheel in these things, it would be something that you would have never ever guessed in a million years. It's going to be so shocking. It'll be life-changing. And I'm hoping before we die, we get a chance to know the truth. And I just don't think it's as simple as it's aliens from another planet. I think it was way deeper than that.
Fancy a cup of tea? Apollo 16 took off on April 16th, 1972. After just 11 days in space, the 3 astronauts on board saw something so unbelievable it demands attention. They caught a glimpse of a strange circular-shaped craft with a great dome-like structure. They managed to capture a short video lasting only a few seconds, which clearly showed the anomalous UFO. In a typical deny-everything fashion, the tape mysteriously vanished for over 30 years. Even more unbelievable is the fact that no copies were made. Well, that's what they thought. A worker stumbled across the tape at Johnson Space Center. Thanks to some digital wizardry, a high-res scan of the tape allowed for a more detailed look at the object. Concentric white and gold circles covered the dome and a long, thin structure extending from the side. For all extents and purposes, that's a flying saucer. 8. I see the light.
I wonder if, just thinking, the only thing that could have been out there to me is literally an alien from another planet or the Russians, right? I mean, it could have been the Russians. I don't see why not.
The Mars rover Curiosity is the gift that keeps giving.
Man.
It's still operational and sending data back to this day, a full 6 years longer than expected. On the 3rd of April, 2014, our little friend picked up a Martian beacon of light. In the distance, behind the cover of a dune, a bright light beam can be seen extending up into the sky past the horizon. The light was picked up by the right camera, though strangely not by the left. Easily explained, as there is a delay between the two cameras, and the light turned off before the left side camera activated. NASA suggested it was a glare shining off a glistening rock. Doubtful, as the image was taken during a period of low light.
I remember this as well, and what's interesting about this is that the way scientists and NASA will try to explain these things off is always so funny. I mean, yeah, there are light glares. It's a real thing. But something like that, a reflection off of a rock, it's kind of like when they say, oh, I saw a UFO, it was doing this and that. Oh, it was seagulls. Oh, yeah, it was seagulls, totally.
They then said a cosmic ray hit the camera sensor. But if this was true, there would be image anomalies every day. The kicker is that the same beam of light was picked up again in an earlier photo. Try explaining that. 7. Martian Sasquatch. Could Mars be home to alien hominids? The answer? Well, maybe. The Mars rover picked up a confronting image that is yet to be explained by NASA, or as we like to refer to them, never a straight answer.
Dude,
whether a life form or a sculpted statue, there is no denying that this is not just a natural rock formation and trick of the light. A plausible explanation could be it's just a case of pareidolia. This bizarre phenomenon is behind people claiming an Elvis-shaped kidney bean or finding the face of Jesus Christ on a burnt piece of toast. Are we looking for alien life so hard that we imagine it everywhere? Or is this just a convenient cover story, and the truth of whether alien life exists is...
This one did intrigue me, but I never put any stock into this image right here. I don't think it's a Mars cryptid or anything living. There always is the possibility it could be a statue. Could be a statue from a previous civilization. Always that chance, right? But this to me is more like a angle of a rock caught just perfectly, and it looks like Planet of the Apes. But hey, it's still cool. It's still cool.
6. Not one of ours. An amateur astronomer witnessed a bizarre object orbiting the Earth back in 2012. It was also observed by a larger telescope in Italy, who estimated it to be around 60 feet long, oval in shape, and spinning around on its axis at around 1 revolution per minute. They dubbed it J002E3. The rotations caused the object to alternate its luminosity, but even so, NASA's UFO program failed to detect it when scanning near-Earth space for anomalies. They commented that it did not match any space debris from recently launched spacecraft, and that it must have entered Earth's orbit fairly recently. It had a bizarre looping orbit which was inherently unstable, causing the object to leave Earth's orbit, where it settled again in a solar orbit.
Yeah, when this object came around, it really got scientists on edge because it acted so differently, comparably speaking, to other objects that come close to Earth.
Experts say it'll come back to visit in around 30 years based on projections, while enthusiasts claim it was an alien craft. 5. We got the nukes. Back in 2009, NASA launched the LaCrosse mission to the moon. But in reality, many people described it rather like a kamikaze mission, because once it was in orbit, the 2.2-ton payload rocket booster was fired at the moon because reasons. The rocket went inside the Cabeus crater near the southern pole of the moon, impacting and creating a huge plume of dust and debris. The mission aim was to have a lunar reconnaissance orbiter take samples during a fly-through to determine if moon craters contain frozen water. Images sent back from the mission show a rectangular structure in the shadow of the crater, leading some to suggest that NASA dropped a nuclear weapon on a moon base, with the search for water just a huge cover story. Alien headquarters or foreign government research facility. Thunderstruck.
That one's hard for me to get into because the picture they found, there was a square type object, but it was so far away. The picture quality was so low. The picture you're seeing here of this square, this is one of those doctored photographs where they go in and outline the edges and use contrast to make it look more defined. This is not the original picture.
While a probe was orbiting the moon in 1972, NASA caught a glimpse of bizarre flash of lightning within the dark shadow of the Stein crater. It's unsure if the discharge of electricity is hitting the moon's surface or rising up from deep beneath it. This gave rise to the conspiracy theory that there's an underground moon base buried in the crater. Not as far-fetched as you think, as the US government has drawn up secret plans for a moon base. They even had detailed schematics. It was called Project Horizon, with the aim to be finished in 1966 at the cost of $6 billion to the taxpayer. But it was shut down by President Eisenhower. Another explanation is that it could be a lightning sprite. These are seen on Earth when lightning spreads out in the cloud, dissipating before it touches down to the ground. This would be a logical explanation, if only the moon had an atmosphere.
That's what I say.
3.
Yeah.
Man in the Moon. First, there was Google.
This one is really cool. I personally like this. It could be an anomaly, but it's really fucking cool. Sorry. I cussed. Dang it.
Earth, which prompted keyboard detectives around the world to reveal some oddities that deserve their own top 10 list. Not content with ruffling so many jimmies, Google doubled down when they teamed up with NASA in 2009 to create the rather unimaginably named Google Moon. It took no time at all for some internet super sleuth to scour the surface of the moon and find something extremely unusual. There appears to be a shadowy figure taking a leisurely stroll up there on the lunar surface. We're not saying it's a giant. NASA have refused to comment on the bizarre silhouette and even left it on Google Moon. Denial of the truth or epic troll? 2. Take me to your leader.
This one right here is really impressive. This is one of the ones where it's definitely unexplainable. I've heard both sides of the argument on this one, and I definitely believe this is real. And but who knows what it is? It definitely looks like a freaking disc or a UFO, a classic UFO, if you will.
The Martian surface is a vast desert of rock and red dust, or so we thought. The Mars Opportunity rover sent back an extraordinary image on the 17th of March, 2017, of what appears to be a huge chunk of shiny, reflective metal poking out of the ground. It's unlike anything seen in any of the other images we've received from the mission. Dark shadowing around the anomaly makes it different to see whether it's coming up from the ground, resting on the ground, or hovering in the air. It really does look exactly how you imagine an alien spacecraft to look, a round flat disc, with a raised dome on top acting like a cockpit. The resemblance is uncanny. Could this be another case of pareidolia, where we see what we want to see, or finally some evidence of the existence of intelligent life other than mankind? 1. Otherworldly standing stone.
Oh, we call this obelisk. This is really freaky. Sorry, I'm kind of like jumping the gun here.
Here on planet Earth, many civilizations have erected rectangular slabs of stone to pay tribute to the paganistic gods and rituals. There is Stonehenge in England, the Karnak stones in France. The list is endless. We're still trying to figure out how ancient humans built these towering structures, let alone how one got on Mars. In 2012, an astronomer caught sight of a monolithic standing stone on the Martian surface. The Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter confirmed the structure and can be seen casting a long shadow present in images from 2 completely different angles. It's estimated to be over 5 meters in diameter, with its straight, rectangular sides screaming out, "I was made, not formed," from the otherwise curvy and natural landscape.